Krishna, everyone. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we hear a very, very beautiful description of Govindaji, a description that's very dear to the hearts of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And it's as follows. Quote, "In a forest of desire trees, known as Vrindavan, is a golden mansion, and in its midst is a jeweled throne at the place called Yogapith. Seated thereupon is Shri Govindadev, a veritable Cupid incarnate. He is served there as a king, bedecked with divine clothes, ornaments, and other paraphernalia, served incessantly by thousands and thousands of devotees," unquote. We mentioned the other day how we approach Madan Mohan to reestablish our lost relationship with Krishna. That's called Shambandha. Then we cultivate and we nurture that relationship with Govindaji. That's called Abhideya. Then finally we approach Gopinath to serve him in a spontaneous, loving mood, like the gopis of Vrindavan. That's called Pariyojana. So as we've heard in previous lectures, Govindaji was ordered and carved 5,000 years ago by Brajranabha, the great-grandson of Krishna, under the supervision of Uttara, the mother of Maharaj Parikshit, because she'd actually seen the Lord, so she could give some direction there. But to make a long story short, because we have a lot of material to cover today, Govindaji, as he's affectionately known by his devotees, was lost with the progress of time. And it was our beloved Srila Rupa Goswami who eventually discovered Govindaji again 500 years ago. And as we know, one of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan was to establish deities and temples in Vrindavan. And it's interesting, actually, how these deities appeared in different ways to our 6 Goswamis. Recently we heard how Madan Mohan appeared to Sanatana Goswami, and we all know how Radharaman appeared to our beloved Gopal Bhatta Goswami from Ashalagram Shila. But Govindaji's appearance to Srila Rupa Goswami is no less amazing, because a number of the Goswamis had already found and discovered their deities before him, so he was really anxious to find his deity. And in his heart, it's described, he knew who was his Ishtadeva, of course, his worshipable deity, Govindaji. So we hear accounts how he was spending a lot of time wandering around Vrindavan, asking the villagers, actually, "Have you seen my Govindaji? Have you seen my Govindaji? Have you seen the Lord of my heart?" Prabhupada said this is very much the mood of Vrindavan, that we're searching for Krishna, we're looking for Krishna, we're hankering for Krishna. But no one, of course, had seen Govindaji. So one day, you could say like in desperation, Sri Rupa Goswami went to the bank of the Jamuna River and he sat down, he just started crying. Crying and crying, these are real tears. Upset that he had not found the Lord of his heart. So suddenly a little boy, a cowherd boy, you can guess, he came along and he said, "Baba, why are you crying? Are you hungry? No one in my village goes hungry." So Sri Rupa Goswami looked up and he said to the little boy, "Your village? This is your village?" So the boy said with confidence, "Yes, this is my village." Then that boy, he sat down next to Rupa Goswami and he said, "Baba, why is it that you look so sad?" So somehow or other, Sri Rupa Goswami was inspired to reveal his mind to this cowherd boy. So he said to the cowherd boy, "Well, you know, all the other Goswamis have fulfilled the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to find deities of Krishna and establish temples. But I haven't found my Govindaji yet." So the little boy smiled and he said, "Oh, Baba, I know where he is. I sport all over the fields of Vrindavan. I go here, I go there, I go everywhere. And I often notice when I come down here to this particular part of the Jamuna every day, I see that a Sarabi cow comes at the same time every day to that little rise on the hill over there. There's a little hill there, not far from the Jamuna. She climbs up on that little hill and she stops and she pours out her milk, pours milk out from her udders with so much affection on a certain spot. Why don't you go there and look? So Srila Rupa Goswami took that as a divine message, divine indication, and he quickly went up the hill and he looked at that particular place where the Sarabi cow would stop and her milk would pour out. And sure enough, there was a little hole there. And he looked very closely, and lo and behold, what did he see? He saw Govindaji's top knot. If you see a photo of Govindaji before he has all his decor and his clothes, he has a little top knot. His hair is tied like that, top knot, on his head. So that was sticking out. So at that moment, Sri Rupa Goswami understood that young boy who had directed him to that spot was none other than Krishna himself.